In the past 1 year, we've had a bunch of dedicated gaming phones in India like the Red Magic 3, the Black Shark 2 and the Asus ROG Phone 2. And out of all of them, it was Asus's attempt that kind of sort of stuck to me, and I was left with the better part of 2019 lugging around a phone that weighs like a brick and looks gigantic in front of its contemporaries. But boy could it game. My current rank as legendary on Call of Duty Mobile is all because of this smartphone, a little bit of skill and the air triggers on them. Well, all that and more are also part of the ROG Phone 3. There's improvements across the board on this smartphone. An insanely fast display, hypercharged CPU and GPU, and upgraded air triggers. The hardware, like before, is the most cutting edge and honestly the best there is in India right now. And this is a smartphone lineup that has always sort of gone ahead using nothing but pure brute force and some interesting features in the software. I'm talking about the Armory Crate, the place that's basically a hangout spot for your games where they can be tuned to death for the most personalized experience. See what I'm talking about? At the very heart of things is the ROG Phone 3's X mode, and to really push it to the max you need to get the AeroActive Cooler 3, a cooling accessory that helps keep the thermals in check. Without it, you can go up to level 2 performance. Asus also gives you a way to tweak the scheduler, governor and the frequencies of every core of the CPU and GPU when you're gaming. This is advanced stuff, so unless you know what you're doing, I certainly don't, it's better left untouched. Turning on X mode certainly boosts the performance, at least on benchmarks. We got consistently higher scores with the X mode turned on Antutu, Geekbench, 3D Mark and PC Mark, clearly establishing that the ROG Phone 3 is far ahead of others in sheer raw performance. However, there's an expected downside. The ROG Phone 3 generates a lot of heat when it's running at peak performance. I'm talking 82 degrees during my Antutu run, which I was running on 144Hz refresh rate and with the X mode turned on. No wonder this is an option and not the norm in the ROG Phone 3. The X mode automatically kicks in when you launch a game and turns on the air triggers, silences calls and messages and gets you ready for some action. Are you? This is what the ROG Phone 3 is meant for. Game and game on it for hours. It's right here where every decision taken about the ROG Phone 3 seems bang on. Of course, your two most popular games, PUBG Mobile and COD Mobile, runs the best it can. And while Geekbench gave us some issues, we could definitely see the phone hitting upwards of 60 FPS on both PUBG Mobile and COD Mobile. But a case needs to be made for the air triggers. Game in point, Call of Duty Mobile. The game itself runs just as good as it does on say the OnePlus 8 Pro or the iQOO 3 5G or even the OnePlus Nord that just released. But that's not what gives this one the edge. It's these pressure sensitive plates on the shoulders called air triggers that are just supremely useful in fast paced first person shooters. It's what made me use the ROG Phone 2 for the longest time, and in its third attempt, the air triggers have mutated. You can now bind not one but two keys on the same trigger, which frees up your thumbs for just moving and aiming. I had shoot and jump bound on the left and aim and crouch bound on the right. And this left my thumbs free to move and aim on a larger area and eventually, after a bit of practice, helped me get more kills. There's also motion control on the air triggers this time, which I bound for reload, so when nearing the end of the magazine, I simply shook the phone to reload. It has a slight downside. I tend to lose bearing of my aim for the first seconds after reloading, but you can try at your own risk. So you thought we've had enough of gaming? Not quite. We're still testing the phone out for the perfect sensitivities, the perfect X mode configuration and the button layout. So if you're interested in that sort of a thing, we can always write out an article or do another video. Just let us know. Now amidst all this, I kind of forgot that this is also meant to be used as a daily driver, and that's where the ROG Phone 3's rivals takes precedence. You can't just expect a person to carry a 240-gram phone weighing down their pockets. And despite everything, the camera on the ROG Phone 3 is only slightly better than that on the ROG Phone 2, but it still has the same issues. A 64 megapixel sensor is fitted in the primary camera, which takes decent photos in the day, but it lacks the dynamic range and vibrance that phones like the OnePlus 8 Pro offers. There's also a frustrating lag when taking an HDR shot, and the macro camera isn't quite usable. And that's understandable considering the whole focus has been on gaming, which is what sets this apart from the rest. But the power it has under the hood also shows up when using the smartphone for the usual things like sending messages, launching apps, reading articles, and browsing social media. Everything is just hyper fast and even smoother than anything I've ever seen. The ROG Phone 3 is a lot like the ROG gaming PCs. They're made for gaming but can also do the regular PC stuff really well. So does the ROG Phone 3. The display at 144Hz is decent when operated at full brightness, with significant discoloration at minimum brightness, but the battery consumption is not as high as I thought it would be. There's also a hidden 160Hz mode as well. I think by now we have comprehensively demonstrated what this smartphone is capable of when it comes to gaming, and how it is like to use as a daily driver. So that brings us to the end of this review. Summing up, the ROG Phone 3 is a beast. It's a sports car that's meant for the tracks, but you can only drive it in rural roads. Because while there is all this much power in your hands, you can't really do much more than what you can already do with phones that have less powerful hardware. But there are a few advantages of driving this sports car out in the public. The 8 triggers are of course one of the biggest, and then there's the 2-day battery life, and of course the RGB lights. Buy the ROG Phone 3 if you are really into smartphone gaming and you want to tune the experience to just how you want it. If you don't, any other flagship smartphone will do the job for you. And that's it. That was our review of the ROG Phone 3. We took so much time just to get to this. Wow. Nevertheless, let us know what you think of the ROG Phone 3 in the comments below, and do subscribe to our channel for more such fun in-depth reviews. Thanks for watching.